Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, a couple of videos ago I showed you that I got these in a clearance haul video from scrapbook.com, and they have a wonderful clearance section. The stamps, the dies, they all have a huge percentage off them, and I picked up these chipboard frames because I have lots of fun ideas what I can do with these. Now this set is called It's a Girl. This is still available in their clearance section, as well as a couple of other ones, so I will link those all down below if you'd like to find them. The couple that I picked up on clearance were around $1.99, so that does make them a good deal. But I got a couple of these and I want to show you how to go about using them, because there are lots of companies that do, sort of similar. Chipboard frames have been around forever. So I'm going to kind of pull some of these apart. Now, once I start pulling them apart, what I actually like to do is pretty much just kind of pull them all out so that they're ready to go. I like to make sure there are as few barriers as I can to me using things like this, and sometimes it's the difference between having all of these pulled out ready to go that I can sort of try easily on and off my cards. Now these are kind of the scrap bits here, which I don't have a huge use for these, but I am going to show you a use for the larger piece up the top. Now, I can't remember the exact price. I believe this was $1 and some change on clearance, and so this feels like good value to me, but it's only good value as if I use it. So I need to make sure I use it. And some of these here, when I was pulling them out, this one here has 2 frames, but I'm going to leave that in, and so does this one, because maybe I would like to pop up elements of it and recess back some elements when I use those, so we'll see. Anyway, I don't have a use for all those scrap bits, but you can see I cut off that big chunk at the top, which we'll use later. You can also see that this is too big for the cards that I like to make. I believe this would fit perfectly on a 5x7 card with a nice even border, but you know that that's not going to stop me. So I'm just going to cut a bit out of the middle and then literally glue this right back on. Well, actually double-sided tape, but you get the gist of it. And so I'm going to put a couple of little arms here, and then I just push it in as far as I can so that there's no join, and I don't think anyone would be any the wiser, particularly once we get the card all sorted. So I just use some double-sided tape on the back. I'm going to use a couple of pieces so it's nice and strong. This is going to be, of course, attached down to the card, so it's not going to bend or anything like that. And now I have a perfect frame all the way around. I have some Sherbet and Harvest paper pads here. Now I'm just using what I have, and so I am definitely getting low on all of these. I got a few of them and have been using them more than I thought I ever would. It definitely encourages me to use different styles, and if I have pre-made cardstock. As you know, I have a small card making space, so I have to make the most of it. But that's okay, it's all about choices and making sure I use the items that I choose to store in my craft space. So here I have just cut down, these are not measured, these are just strips of paper. Now I guess this would be perfect for using up scraps and things, but I didn't, I just cut them from strips, from normal pieces, sorry. And so I'm just going to put some double-sided tape around all 4 sides of my little frame here. This is the back of my frame. And then I did a card not too long ago called Not Iris Folding, because it reminded me of iris folding, but it definitely wasn't that technique. That technique takes more time and patience than I think I have. And so this reminded me of a technique like that, except for the way that I did it, except for I'm not going to fold over the pieces. Now a couple of these have really rough edges because I needed to change my blades on my trimmer, and I usually let them go as long as I possibly can bear it, but it was definitely time. So I always buy a few replacement blades and have them on hand, because there is nothing worse than that shaggy edge that you get if you let your trimmer blades get really dull. So I always keep a few replacements on hand. They don't cost too much, but it is one of those things that is definitely handy to have. And then I've just put the paper all the way down here. I sort of more focus on the front because I'm not measuring this. There's no rhyme or reason. They're not all the same. So I kind of turn it to the front to see where I want to place everything, and then place them down, and then add another piece after that. And then again, There's no real pattern, it's not perfect, but I think this creates a fun background for our card using our frames today. Now, of course, you can make the frames for sure, absolutely, but I am just showing you how I go about using up some of these as well. Now, this stamp set here, this is called Little Bundle from Fawn, and this one has been around for years and years, and I just checked and it's still available, it's still there, and I have kept this and never replaced this as my baby sort of baby stamps set because I love it and I've not found anything better. So this is years and years and years old and it's still available to purchase. I do have the dies with it, and I purchased, again, years and years ago I purchased these, but I'm just going to colour, I've stamped them out using some VersaFine Onyx black ink, and then I have added some heat emboss, some clear heat embossing powder, and then heated it. And then, as I said, I do have the dies for these, but the dies leave that white border around them, and I specifically chose the images that I thought I could fussy cut really simply. So I'm actually going to fussy cut these ones out today. I'm not a particular fan of the white border that dies leave, so I'm just going to fussy cut these ones out. I'm keeping these all, literally I'm just using one pen from the TriBlend, so technically it's 3 pens, 3 different colours, 3 different shades of the same colour, and that way I'm able to get a little bit of interest, but I'm keeping this really plain and simple because we already have quite a lot of colours going on. Now, I have a definite shortage of baby cards at the moment. I'm not sure if we're coming into the season or something, but I have a whole lot of friends who have been asking for them, so I do need to up my stash. But if you're not making a baby card, then you can put anything on the front here, any little images. You could replace these little baby images, these baby clothes, with your own images. They could be flowers, they could be hearts for Valentine's Day, they could be little birthday gift boxes for a birthday card, they could be anything. So just change them up for what you need. Then I have a Welcome Baby Boy. This is, again, the same sentiments from that same stamp set. It has a beautiful, gorgeous range of sentiments. I've also struggled to find any better, so this set is staying. I absolutely love it. Now, I'm usually a fan of doing a plain rectangle for the sentiment. However, I thought I would fussy cut right around it nice and close because we don't have a whole lot of room. Now, here is the chipboard from the top of those frames, and this is just really great. Instead of using foam tape, I add some double-sided tape, or if you have adhesive sheets, that would be great to add to either side, and then I just cut these up for use as needed. So I just sort of pop this in my little scraps bucket, and I know that instead of using foam tape sometimes behind a sentiment, I can just use this. So you could use the other little pieces that came in there were just a little bit too little, that went, you know, the scraps from around the frames, but that nice big chunk up the top is perfect. Now I'm going to pop this down on my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card base, and then everything is going to come together really, really easy. I'm just going to lay this out, and I've just got a little bit of, you know, color and dimension with these gorgeous little elements here. Roughly do the middle one and then make the other two sort of nice and even on either side of that. But as I said, you could replace these with whichever, any elements that you wanted to, flowers even, anything, butterflies, whatever you have in your stash, you could stamp them, they could be pre-made, whatever is going to work perfectly fine. Pop the sentiment down and we are good to go, and I've used up one of those gorgeous frames. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. As usual, there will be links in the description box down below, along with some links to the Buy Me a Coffee website in case you would like to support my channel, and any other links such as snail mail if you'd like to send me a card. They're all there. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye!